and thank you to all of our witnesses and, of course, my colleagues for joining us. Today's briefing is about the extraordinary effort underway to develop a vaccine to prevent COVID-19. A safe and effective vaccine could hasten the end to this disastrous pandemic. But the herd immunity that will end COVID-19 once and for all requires all of us to get vaccinated. For that, we need public trust in this entire vaccine project. Around the globe, nearly 200 vaccine candidates are being developed, and over 20 have entered human clinical trials. In the United States, 5 have entered human clinical trials, with large clinical trials to begin later this month. With a historic all-hands-on-deck effort underway around the globe, the timeline to develop a vaccine may be compressed from several years down to just 12 or 18 months. However, moving with this amazing speed does not and must not allow for cutting any corners. Today, we will hear how we must place trust in the Food and Drug Administration's tried and tested vaccine review process. We will learn how this process remains the best in the world, and we will hopefully, through this process, produce a COVID-19 vaccine in record time. While this nation's scientific workforce spends late nights in their labs to produce a vaccine, we in Congress must do our part to protect their work from political meddling, so that they can uphold their profession's utmost standards of scientific analysis and ethics. We are not here today to place bets on the vaccine horse race. We leave the careful assessment of individual vaccines to the experts. We must entrust science to the scientists, not the politicians. I want to highlight 2 guardrails that protect the integrity of vaccine development and will ensure the safety and efficacy of a COVID-19 vaccine. First, the most important hurdle for a vaccine to be deemed safe and effective is to successfully undergo phase 3 human clinical trials. According to tradition as well as the science, phase 3 human clinical trials must include at least 30,000 people. This is a requirement endorsed by NIH Director Francis Collins and our top infectious diseases authority, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Second, FDA must receive and consider advice from what is called the Vaccine and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, also known as VRBPAC. In the area of vaccines, VRBPAC has a sterling reputation, and for decades, it has played a central role in FDA's process for assessing new vaccines. Review of a COVID-19 vaccine by this body of vaccine experts from academia and industry will add transparency, public accountability, and scientific insight to the approval process. These are critical values for a vaccine that will undergo immense public scrutiny and require full participation and trust by the public. However, up to this point, FDA has failed to commit to these 2 guardrails. With fellow oversight chairs Carolyn Maloney and Jim Clyburn, I wrote to FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn asking for his commitment to a 30,000 trial participant requirement for stage 3 human trials, as well as engagement with VRBPAC. A month later, we have received no response. 2 weeks ago, FDA Commissioner Hahn testified to Congress that he would maintain his independence and the high standards of the FDA. Commitments to a 30,000 trial participation rate, as well as engagement with VRBPAC, would be concrete ways to guarantee that independence and rigor. We must remain vigilant to the risk that push to political tactics or media campaigns. It does not follow consumer sentiment or approval ratings. The impending election, the stock market, and the yearning for a return to normalcy must not distort the decision on whether or not to approve a vaccine. We must expedite developing a vaccine, but we cannot cut corners in the process.